So we were able to create these touch avoid and the easy push programs where it goes forward and then backwards and turns around, and it could loop for infinity, or we could say a number of times. Now we're going to learn how to do the wait for change program. And this is real simple. Your robot is going to move forward. It's just going to be on. The wheels are just going to be on, going forward at a speed of 50. And when it touches something, when the sensor is pressed, when we have it pressed, it's going to stop moving. So we'll just put this program together real quick. So let's go to our programs, open. And so the first thing we wanted to do is we want it to just be on. So it's just on. And then we're going to get our wait block, and we're going to use touch sensor, change state. Then we go back and the change state. So on was one state and off is the other state. So it's just keeps moving until it hits something and then it stops. So let's file, save project as. I'm going to do Mr. Noon. Wait for change. I think, what was it? Let's see what we got here. Wait for change. Yep. Mr. Noon. Wait for change. All right. Mr. Noon, wait for change. I make sure it's in my documents file. Then I go to Teams for this classroom. Teams. Robotics. Files. New folder. Wait for change. Create. There we go. And go into the folder and you upload your file. So I'm in my documents, and my documents are getting messy. I probably should have a folder that is just for Robotics 1 programming. Hit open. And there, that's uploaded. So if you're at home, that's all you need to do. If you're here in the classroom, you can go ahead and run your program, make sure it runs correctly. And then I'll show you how this works when it runs correctly. So here's a wall. We have the wait for change program. So this will run, if I ran it this way, it would run the entire length of the room until it hit the wall over there. If I ran it this way, it would run the entire length of the room. If I ran it this way, it would run here, it would run here. So no matter where I put it, it's going to just run the distance until the touch sensor is pressed in. So we'll go ahead and run this. So you can see it's just running. And then it stops as soon as it presses it. So now that we have the wait for change program, we're going to do the loop until touch program. So we have this is all saved. So we file, save, make sure it's saved, and then file, new project, program. All right, so we have, it's going to go backwards 3 times, number 3 rotations. Then it's going to go forward 3 rotations. And then if it's touching something at the end of this, it's going to stop moving and play a note. And if it's not touching anything, it's going to continue to loop back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So let's go ahead and make this. Backwards, forwards, loop, play a note. So we got backwards. You could do any speed, but they tell us 75. So that's backwards, 75, 3 times, for number of rotations. Forwards, 75, 3 times for number of rotations. We get a loop here, and in our loop we're going to pick our touch sensor state. All right, let's put this in here. Let's put this one here. And then the last thing it's going to do is it's going to play a note. If so, it goes backwards, goes forwards, and at the end of forwards, if it's being pressed, that'll stop. Otherwise, it'll just loop and go backwards, forwards until it's pressed. At the end, though, at the end of this, it has to be pressed at the end of this. If you press it here or here, it's not gonna work. So we'll see what happens here. Play a tone for, it wants it for 0.5 seconds, and that's our whole program. So we're gonna hit File, Save Project As, your name, and this is the loop until touch. Loop until touch. Hit save. We go to our teams. All right. There's a new folder. Loop until touch. Program. Create. Now we look for our, there it is, loop until touch program. And then we upload our file. It should be in documents. And Mr. Noon, loop until touch is right there. Hit open. So if you're at home, you submit your program this way. And if you're in school, you could run your program, make sure it runs correctly. All right, so let's see how this one works too. So now we have the loop until press button. So this will go backwards and then forwards and then backwards and then forwards. It'll do that over and over again until you press the button. So let's see what happens here. Backwards and then forwards, backwards until forwards. When you press the button, it makes a beep, it stops. And that's all that has to do. So you go ahead and try your program.